Hey YouTube, so no one's really made a video that honestly reviews the new Super Smash Bros for the Wii U, so I guess I'll be the first one to tell you the truth about this game. And let me just start by saying this. This game sucks. That's right. It fucking blows. Super Smash Bros for the Wii U is not a bad game on its own as a game. Like if you just go pick this up and play for yourself, you'd have fun with it. But as a sequel to one of the best games of every Nintendo generation, it sucks. Plain and simple. Biggest disappointment. And let me just go on, before I go ahead and start, let me just start by saying that I've been playing the Super Smash Bros. Series since the Nintendo 64 days, and I've always been a huge Nintendo fanboy. Even when I knew they always screwed things up, I'd always find a way to defend them, but this time they just crossed the line. This game just broke my heart, and I can't defend them anymore. I have to come out and just be blatantly honest. And at first, I was trying to convince myself that hey, it's great, it's a great game. You know, being the typical Nintendo fanboy, justifying every stupid fucking mistake they do. But you can't do it. You can't patch up this one, Nintendo. You really fucked this one up. So main problem with this game is just that like Nintendo just completely went backwards on this one in a bunch of ways. And I'll start with the graphics. So the Smash Bros. Games were always one of the best looking games of their console generation. If you look at the N64, yeah, it wasn't much to work with, but it was one of the better looking games. Super Smash Bros. Melee was one of the best looking games on the GameCube. And Super Smash Bros. Brawl was one of the best looking games on the Wii. It in fact took a dual layer disc just to handle the advanced visuals on that one. For those of you who don't know, those are discs that have extra capacity to hold more information and data. And Super Smash Bros. Brawl's graphics were so good that it was the only Nintendo Wii game to use one of those. It was the same kind of disc Xbox 360s use. So the Super Smash Bros. Brawl actually like restored hope for graphics in the Wii. But I'm getting kind of off topic. Anyway, this game, what the fuck happened? Things were going so well. Between each generation, we saw vast improvements in graphics. We saw huge jumps. Look at this. Just look at this picture right here of Fox. It's crazy how much they changed. Now, from Super Smash Bros. Brawl to here, look at the difference. Honestly, dude, do you even need me to explain this? Like, just look. Like, you could say that's the same fucking game for all we know. Honestly, I could even go as far as to say that the Wii version looks better because I can see more detail on Fox's jacket here than I do in the Wii U version. That moves me to my next topic, detail. They decreased the amount of detail that went into the character designs. And if you think I'm making this up, go ahead and look. Here's Mario in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. See, you can see the individual threads on the fabric of his jeans. Very detailed, very nice. Looks like he's under natural lighting. Here's Mario here for this generation. What the fuck? Are we going backwards? Where'd all the jeans, where's the jean pattern on his overalls? It's going backwards, and I can actually explain why. See, one of the huge reasons this game just blew and went backwards is because they tried to make the same game for the Nintendo DS just so they can cash in on extra copies for a separate console. And when they did that, they limited the ability of this game. Yeah, the Wii U is able to do more than the 3DS, but it still has to look true to the 3DS design. And because of that limitation, we have these simpler looking characters that just blow, and it's a step backwards, and it's just so disappointing to see, especially if you had expectations like me, because I've been just every year I've just been astounded by Smash Bros. Every generation until now, and this is just unacceptable. Now, some of you Nintendo fanboys were going to go ahead and say, oh, that's how the characters are meant to look. They're more colorful and vibrant when they take out the details. That is just a fucking excuse for lazy game design. Okay, which one do you think took more effort? The Mario with plain blue overalls or the one with the jean pattern? Exactly. For those of you that wanted to argue for graphics that it's in HD now, therefore superior, that's bullshit, okay? HD was introduced 9 years ago when the Xbox 360 came around, okay? If you don't have HD by now, it doesn't even qualify as a game of this generation. It is a minimum requirement to be HD, so don't even try to bring that up as an argument for graphics. Nintendo barely did their requirement. Even though it's in a higher resolution, it still manages to look worse than Super Smash Bros. Brawl. Alright, now let's go ahead and move on to gameplay. The gameplay is still there. The gameplay that we know and love, the fun Super Smash Bros gameplay that's been there for generations is still there. That fun multiplayer beat 'em up. But that is it. It's the same exact fucking thing, almost. Almost. You know, we got your new Pokemon, you got your new assistant trophies, you got a couple of new items, but at the end of the day, you're playing the same old fighting game. And what's wrong with that? Let me just go back and backtrack again. From the N64 to Melee, they added a whole new move, which was moving the stick forwards and pressing B. That wasn't in the N64. They added that to the Melee. So essentially, every character got an additional move in their move set. In Super Smash Bros Brawl, they introduced the Final Smash Ball, which was another additional move. There is nothing new in this game. They added customizable movesets, which you do outside, but in terms of the actual gameplay, there is nothing really innovative or new, and it's the same fucking game as Brawl. There's no real change in the fighting dynamics. You could apply the same strategies and whatnot, with a couple of rebalancing things. You know, you can't hog ledges anymore and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, you're playing the same fighting game. It feels more of the same than it ever has, and it's less innovative than all the previous generations. There's stuff that they added, like the 8-player brawl. Mind you, it didn't take a whole lot of creativity. Let's just add more players. And it's fun, it's really fun and chaotic, but there's no thought involved. It's literally, you're just spamming whatever attack you have in a clusterfuck, taking as much damage as you're dishing out. There's no real strategy to it other than kind of hide. If you're playing stock battle, you just avoid the action as much as you can until you're the last one surviving. But really, there's no strategy. It's fun and chaotic, but it's mindless action, and it didn't take a whole lot of creativity. Alright, so let's move on to character roster and stages. The characters and stages are what made these games what they are. The variety, the fun, the creativity that went into these. It's like you see the characters and you're like, hey, I want to play as that guy. I want to play on that stage. It's the reasons to play the game. Reasons what made these games so awesome. How did Nintendo fuck up this bad? So let me just start by giving you this example, okay? Just hear me out here. They take out a fan favorite like Solid Snake, this badass army guy, right? And who do they add in? Like, it's fine if you want to take people out, just add someone else in, right? So who do they replace him with? People like Wii Fit Trainer? Are you fucking serious? Rosalina and Luma? Who wants to play as these people? Is this a fucking joke? So someone at Nintendo was sitting there and saying, oh, you know what? People really want to play as this nameless Wii Fit Trainer from this extremely shitty game that was ridiculed and no one liked. So we should go ahead and put characters from that game. We should also put in this defenseless princess that has no reason being in a fighting game. Let's go ahead and throw her in there too. But we should take Solid Snake out. He's a little too badass. People like him a little too much. We should definitely piss off the audience with these useless characters. It's almost like they're using the game to advertise their shitty games like Wii Fit. Like, who the fuck wants to play as that trainer? It doesn't even have a name. The moves are retarded. Is it a joke? I think they put it in there as a joke, and it's kind of funny, but we're not really laughing when we're paying $70 for a game that's supposed to pride itself on a fun character roster that people want to play as. As for stages, there are new and creative stages themed like the character stages, thankfully. But here's another place where they kind of fucked up, because they brought back the retro stages, and in total, there are more pre-rendered retro stages from old games than new stages. We're paying for a new game, which means we want more new stages, not more throwbacks. Yeah, the throwbacks are welcome, but they can't replace the actual addition of new stages. You can't replace every slot for a new stage by bringing back an old one. This is just another example of Nintendo just showing that it's being lazy with their design. They didn't want to make more stages, so they brought back old ones. Alright, so the biggest way Nintendo disappointed here and really dropped the ball and once again proved that it's moving backwards with this series is game modes. Most specifically, single player / co-op unlocking modes, or whatever you want to call them, ways of progressing in the game. So here, a little bit of background knowledge. In the N64, there was only the classic mode where you go from stage to stage battling each character. and then introduced the adventure mode, which was a short little like 1 hour platforming mode where you go from different platforming stages, themed like Mario and Zelda and whatever, like themed like the games of which the characters were from, and you battle bosses and characters in between. It was fun and refreshing from the regular Smash Bros combat in every other game mode, so it was fun and refreshing. And then Super Smash Bros Brawl took a huge step forward and created the Subspace Emissary, which was an adventure mode and a story mode around a 12-hour platformer slash beat 'em up where you go from stage to stage battling enemies with health. There were bosses in between. There were these beautiful looking cutscenes in between each stage, and the cutscenes represented a story that gave the game continuity. It answered the question as to how these characters came together to beat the shit out of each other from their own worlds. It was funny, it was very, very entertaining, and it was a great break from the regular Smash Bros. Combat. You could play it over and over again. It had secrets, it had unlockables in there. It was just fantastic. So, you could imagine how excited I was when the next generation was announced. Oh, what are they going to do to the N64? Were they going to add more elements? I wonder if it's going to be twice as long. How great are these cutscenes going to look in next gen? So let's go see. Want to see what Nintendo did? Let's just take that out. Let's just take out one of the best things about Super Smash Bros. Brawl out of the game. Just take it out and flood the game with a bunch of shitty game modes that no one's going to play and don't take a lot of effort to make. Oh, you want an example? Smash Tour. What the fuck is that? Who wants to play a fucking board game? I want to play Super Smash Bros. Not a board game that has so many rules and complications, and the fights last about 45 seconds in between rounds. This is just a shitty cross between Mario Party and Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and it doesn't work. Didn't take any effort to make it. And you take out the Subspace Emissary for shit like this? Not even that, they took out the adventure mode in general. We're back to only having the classic mode. Yeah, there's event battles, but we're talking about ways to unlock things. We're just back to classic mode. Are you serious? This is a huge step backwards. You just regressed 4 generations back to the N64. This is unacceptable. And Nintendo, I can imagine a lot of effort going into something like the Subspace Emissary because of the cutscenes, and I guess they just really didn't want to trouble themselves with that. All that negative stuff said, there's still fun to be had with this game. That combat you know and love is still there. This is not a bad game. You can have fun, but in terms of a successor to one of the best games of its generation, it fails. It is not even close to one of the best games of this generation. It disappoints in every department: graphics, game modes, roster, and stages. Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U is not a bad game. It's just a bad Smash Bros. Game. This will give you a little more of an understanding on how this game is, because the big reviewers like IGN, the mainstream reviewers like IGN and GameSpot gave this game like 9.5s, and that got me really excited. And I really wished other reviewers would be a little more honest about this game like I'm being, and that's why I felt the need to make this video. It's an honest review. This game is disappointing, but it is still fun at times, and there is fun to be had with it.